I say this every week, but this week it is really, you really are in for a special few minutes with our speaker today. Professor Jeff Bernel is a graduate of the Executive MBA program here at Notre Dame. He is the winner of the Distinguished Alum Award from the Executive MBA program. He is an entrepreneur. He has bought and sold businesses. He has advised on entrepreneurial insights on how to take this whole problem of how to innovate and get into business and do great things with it. He's a fantastic teacher, well respected, and he's yours for the next 30 minutes or so. Please give him a big welcome.
I don't know if this is working. I don't know that I need it actually. Today, it's good to see y'all. First year students, everyone, correct? You made the right choice. You've made it through the first semester, and you've seen it. Now's the time you get going. My son's a Notre Dame 2003 architect graduate, and my daughter graduated from St. Mary's in 2004. So I have a sense of the issues that you all go through and how hard it was to get into this school. So I always enjoy the opportunity to sit down and talk with you all individually, because each one of you is such a success story. You've all done things that are very interesting. I tell everybody right now, I find myself, there's an irony in being able to teach at Notre Dame. Is I think when I was your age, I was lucky to get into a state school, let alone Notre Dame. But with the the requirements are so high for enrollment these days. So it's always a privilege. I like being here. I enjoy the opportunity to work with you all. Today, I'm going to talk to you about entrepreneurship. I've been teaching at Notre Dame now for about 15 years. I helped start the Entrepreneurship Center in 1998, left it in 2003 to teach full-time, and I've been teaching principles of management, the entrepreneurship modules for undergraduate and graduate level. Also, at the time I used to teach strategy, strategic management, and today, as of January 1st, I was asked to take over the Entrepreneurship Center again, the Gigot Center for Entrepreneurship. It's Gigot, G-I-G-O-T. And so here I am. Today I teach 4 credit hours now a semester. I do the MBA entrepreneurship modules, Mod 1 and Mod 3, and I teach the go-to-market course, which is each semester. And that's so right now, that's my teaching. I always enjoy teaching principles management. We're just talking about it. So you all are brand new here. What we try and do at Notre Dame is teach you to be entry-level management people for existing businesses, big businesses, small businesses, CPA, consulting. And long about 1996 or so, Gary Gigot, who was a vice president for marketing for the Microsoft Corporation, collected enough stock grants and stock options to retire and do pretty well that he funded the Gigot Center. He really felt that there was a need in your education, not only the undergraduate, but graduate level education, to help you understand what is it really like to start your own business. And I've been doing that most of my life. I've turned around 2 businesses, started a high-tech business, and as of the end of this month, I will be out of my final one, which is industrial real estate development. I'm finally selling my last building, so I'll be a free guy. So I have to figure out what's next. And but my real love at this point in time is having the opportunity to work with you all. This is, at this period of my life, I've been in the military, plus business, and now academics. And from my perspective, this has been the job I've really enjoyed as much as anything I've ever done. So it's really a privilege for me to be able to sit and talk to you. And you're talking about, let's see, distinguished Jeff Bernel, Notre Dame, all in one sentence. None of my friends would believe that. They would say, no, you got to divide that up. So I won't tell you my reputation now. So today, what do we have? We have the Gigot Center for Entrepreneurial Studies. It's an opportunity for you all. You're going to have to declare your major sometime in March of next year. And all of you are thinking about that. I hope you're going to the Career Center and taking the occupational preference courses to try and figure out as to what do you love to do. And if you really understand yourself before you make that choice, hopefully you'll choose a major that will help you, that you'll enjoy going forward with, be it marketing, IT, whatever. There is an entrepreneurship major also that we offer through the Jago Center and through Mendoza and the management department. So what do we do? Why are we here? We have a mission. We have a three-phase mission here. The first one is to teach, to educate. And we set up a number of courses that Introduction to Entrepreneurship, Go to Market, Funding New Ventures, Entrepreneurial Insights course, and a number of other courses that are added in there. And the point being is to help you understand what it's like to be your own boss, to start your own business. So the first thing is, what's entrepreneurship? What's it like to be an entrepreneur? How many of you have parents or relatives that are entrepreneurs, started their own business, and run their own business? You have a leg up, you have a pretty good sense of what it's like to live in a family that's run by people that are entrepreneurs. And it's different. And so what is entrepreneurship? What are the challenges that you face? Secondly is we talk about opportunity recognition. So you want to start your own business, how would you do that? So may I ask your name?
Alex.
Alex, if you could walk out of here and do anything you want to do, what would it be? What do you love to do? Besides sleep and drink beer.
I like sports.
Sports? What kind of sports?
Baseball.
Baseball. All right, baseball. So you love baseball. What kind of business could you start because you love baseball?
Scouting company.
Bingo. You're an entrepreneur. Was that hard?
No.
All right. So I'm getting your mind going in the right places. The point with entrepreneurship is you really want to choose something, number one, you have a passion for. You have a passion for that, you enjoy that. Something you know. You know, I'm a business guy, marketing, I love HR, I enjoy being with people. Would I go out and start a nuclear reactor construction company? Probably not. I know nothing about that. Well, I guess I do, but I don't. I wouldn't want to do that because I don't have the knowledge. So it's choosing something you love to do. There's the old saw about if you love what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. And pretty much as an entrepreneur most of my life, running my own businesses, I really, to some degrees, could have done a lot more, but I've always had this penchant for wanting to own 100% of my companies. And I could have a shareholders meeting when I was shaving in the morning in the mirror. And it gave me really a tremendous amount of control, but it also gave me a tremendous a lot of opportunity and at the same time responsibility. I remember being an owner and an entrepreneur and running a business is occasionally we'd have company events. And we get up, it'd be maybe a length of service event where we honor people for the time that they've spent working for us. And I'd look out and they'd bring their families. And at one time we had 900 people working for my company. And I look out, 900 people, and you figure each person probably has 3 dependents that are depending on that person's income and that person's occupation at our company. So yeah, 2,700 people that are sitting there, and I'm thinking, if I make a stupid mistake, or I make a bad decision, or I'm a really lousy leader, or I haven't gone to school and gotten the education I need to a good job to run this company, I'm not just affecting me. Look at all those people you're affecting. So it's one of the responsibilities that you take on as an owner. So what else? We teach you how to do this, and it's basic. So we get opportunity recognition. It's like Alex here is going to start his own scouting business. That's a good business. It's out there. So you have that. Next thing you would do is say, that's what I want to do. We'll do a feasibility analysis. And a feasibility analysis is part of a business plan. In that analysis, you're going down to the BIC here, the Charles Mahaffey Business Information Center in the lower level of Mendoza, which is the finest business research library that exists anywhere. You've got librarians down there that are really, really good at what they do. Stephen, Pete, or Barbara, she's called Pete. You got to meet Pete and work with Pete. She's the most helpful person in the world. If they can't find what you need, you probably don't need the information. So you have that information down there that's going to help you find the market. So what's the market size? And baseball, how many billions is that? You're going to find your market niche. As to say, it's going to be scouting. So how big is that market niche? How much of that do you feel you can capture over a certain period of time, which isn't going to help you determine what it's going to cost you. You've got to, most budgets are run from costs out rather than from what you think you're going to capture. And we'll learn how to do that, and then we're going to teach you how to turn that into a business plan. And a business plan is essentially your feasibility analysis, your market analysis, your competitive analysis. So who's the competition? You gotta know that there's competition out there, and you're going to find out who that is. And from knowing that, you're going to find out whether there's a customer out there that's willing to pay you for your product or service. Makes sense. Seems so simple, doesn't it? And then we're going to help you learn how to launch it. Go-to-market class is taking your feasibility analysis, putting it into a business plan. And a feasibility analysis is essentially 80% of your business plan. And from that point, we do the pro forma. And a pro forma are the things you're going to learn in business school of balance sheets, income statement, cash flow, ratios, any sort of ratios for banks that banks like to see. We'll talk about funding new ventures. So you got this, Alex here needs to get this going. He needs money. Where's he going to find it? We go through all the sources of money that you can find to help you start your business if you need that. I like bootstrap businesses where you pretty much do it yourself, friends, families. I'm a believer that you get your money from banks because banks don't take equity. So what's a bank? A bank's nothing more than a store that sells money. And so you go borrow their money at 6% or 8%, and you make it at 20%. Sounds like a pretty good deal to me. And they don't come in and take any ownership in the corporation. Whereas you start selling equity and giving up ownership, then you have a whole different set of issues that you face that we did with a high-tech company we helped start. In the end, we ended up owning somewhere in the neighborhood of 30% of the company when we sold it to Intel. So it's all these issues you're going to face, and then the launching. How do I take this company into a strategic plan, essentially? And at the end of the courses, you'll have a pretty good sense of what you need to do to get this company up and going. So the key point, we are really here for more than anything else, is to teach, to educate, and talk about that other part of what business is all about. We'll go into a little bit about entrepreneurship here in a second. The second thing that we do is, how are we doing on that? Oh, good. Academics, we do launching. Okay, so you want to launch your business. And I highly encourage you on the 19th of April, here in this auditorium, we're having the finals for our business plan competition. We started our business plan competitions in October. This year we had 131 applications of people like you, students, faculty, alumni. The last 11 years, 3 of the business plan competitions have been won by undergraduates. And the money has always been upwards of $100,000 or more that you can win based on the strength of your business idea, your business plan. So we do the business plan competition. There's a whole bunch of training that goes along with that. It's really a wonderful educational experience. In the end, you may actually walk out of here with a business. We're also starting something that you've probably seen some ads around here over in Innovation Park. It's between Linebacker and McAllister's over there. There's a big building over there called Innovation Park at Notre Dame. Is coming up on the weekend before Entrepreneurship Week, which starts on the 17th. We're having a startup weekend. And for $35, you start off on Friday, and on Sunday you have the business up and running. And it's 42 hours where you don't sleep much, but you're going to have a whole lot of interaction. You form a team. A lot of what comes out of their applications, mobile apps, things like that. So if you have an interest in doing something like that, it's a great education, and you'll have an education. One of the things I do when I taught Introduction to Entrepreneurship for undergraduate students is a $30 challenge. I'll give you $30 in cash, and you have to turn it into $240 by the end of the semester. And the point of that is number one, it puts you in a position of having to be an entrepreneur. You have to start a business, and you can only use the $30. And I've only had maybe 4 students since 1999 not reach the $240 one. And so the point of it is the the challenge and literally the fright of saying, oh my God, I have to start a business. This is scary. And then succeeding. I think that in business, regardless of where you end up, the magic of business is working on a product or service, bringing it to market, and I'm sorry, your first name, may I ask?
Anastasia.
Pardon?
Anastasia.
Anastasia. I go to Anastasia, and Anastasia wants to buy what I'm selling. I give you that product or service, and you give me money for it. That's magic. That's the magic of business, in my opinion, is you worked hard, you thought through this, you went through the education, you built this business, you hired people, and then somebody gives you money for your idea. That's where you win. And this is another part of what we're trying to do with the education that we have. So you'll be an entrepreneur. I've had one student made $10,000 on a $30 investment. And it's not unusual to see 800, 900, just a number of students that have gone on spring break that have had lots of cash and because of the businesses they started. So, but you have to give me my $30 back though, you can't keep that. So anyhow, so as part of the education, launching, we also have an early seed stage fund called the Abdo Riley Fish Taco Fund, where you can apply for up to $20,000 to help you get your business started. And third thing we do is social entrepreneurship. I know at Notre Dame, all of you, 80% of you are going to get involved in some form of social effort through the Center for Social Concerns or whatever. We teach microfinance, and you can get a certificate in microfinance. Most likely you would take this in your junior and senior years. And microfinance teaches you how to create financial investing opportunities primarily in third world countries. Is where you want to start something, you go to Africa, or we have internships. We have internships in South Africa, Kenya, working on Uganda, Jamaica, Haiti, Guatemala, Cambodia, and we're looking at setting one up in China sometime this summer, where hopefully we'll get that thing pulled together, where you'll work as an intern for the summer, working with an NGO, non-governmental organization or charity, to help them as a consultant to run their businesses better. And microfinance is used to help in third world countries, again, somebody that doesn't know how to start a business, learn how to start it, and using small amounts of money to create things like chicken farms, so making dig wells, teaching the technology. It sounds so simple, but believe me, the skill set that you'll have by then is very valuable for those organizations and the people they serve. So, and we're also working on a program. How many of you know about ACE, Alliance for Catholic Education? Okay, we're thinking about, we have a great, this is one of our, I'm an entrepreneur, I love great ideas. And a great idea is we'd like to create a master's in social entrepreneurship program where you get a master's degree in social entrepreneurship, similar to you get a master's in education with ACE, and go to school in the summer, work in the fall and the spring, come back to school, work in the fall and the spring as an employee for an NGO, and you're paid a stipend, and so the charity gets you for free, and you walk away with a master's degree. So hopefully by the time you get to that point, we would, so far we've, at least our, who knows what development is? What's the development office do around here? They raise what? Funds, sure. They're the ones that go after you when you graduate so that you'll give money back to the university. This hall here, Jordan Hall, Jay Jordan, owns 152 companies, was a marketing major just like you are sitting here. And he's funded this thing and the Jordan Science Hall. If you haven't been through Jordan Science Hall, make sure you do that. It's a really great, it's a beautiful building. So that's what we do at the Gigot Center. We've got a website like everybody else does. If you go through there, there's all sorts of events, news, resources for entrepreneurs. There are links to literally hundreds of different organizations that will help you start your business, of finding money, of you name it. There's a lot of really interesting stuff here. We have Nasdaq competition support. We send, in our case, we have a Nasdaq Scholarship where we will VC venture capital and private equity. You'll get to go and shadow an entrepreneur, a venture capitalist or a private equity executive, and we pay the funds for that. So all sorts of things. So if you get a chance to go through here, check out Gigot Center. Any questions at this point? Questions for me? Please ask questions. It's the old thing, I know what I know, I don't know what you know, so yeah, let me know if there's something you want to ask as we go through here. Okay. And entrepreneurship, what is this thing? So to add to your, hopefully your knowledge base of what we offer, it's like a smorgasbord here at Mendoza and Notre Dame. There's so many wonderful things that you can learn. I hope each one of you, if you're going to choose a business major, that you also consider looking at something in arts and letters and English, or particularly psychology, because as business people, what are we doing? We're managing people. And the more you know about people, the more you understand organizational behavior, and it will really serve you really well to do that. So what is it? We have 4 goals that we always have to make, we always have to pay attention to. What's the object of any business? Any business that you're going to go into is to, first of all, get competitive. So think of Facebook. You all use Facebook. I have a Facebook account so I can find out what my kids are doing, and it works pretty well. So, yeah, first of all, you have to get a competitive advantage. So who was the competition to Facebook originally? MySpace? Anybody else out there? So they had competition, right? So are they competitive today? You betcha. I think they'll overtake Google one of these days. So they have to maintain that competitive advantage. So if you look at what Facebook is doing, the constant change in your homepage and how you can use that, email, now you're seeing a lot of organizations get involved with it. We have a Facebook account for the Shigo Center. My wife runs her own business. She has a website for her business. Maintain a competitive advantage, so you've got to keep it. It's sort of like football here. You had Lou Holtz, one of my favorite philosophers. When he came here, he took the team from a losing squad in 2 years to a national championship. And so he was able to achieve that competitive advantage for Notre Dame football. But actually, the harder thing to do is to maintain it. This is the 3rd year Mendoza's been ranked as the #1 undergraduate business school in the country. It's harder now. Why? Why is it harder now to maintain this competitive advantage? What do you think? Why is it harder for us now?
Because if you're #1, then everyone targets you.
That's right. They're trying to benchmark us, and benchmarking means you find the best, you find out what they're doing, and you do it better. People say, well, benchmark, which means they're going to find out who the best are and be just like them. That's not the point. The point is they want to do us better. So it's even harder now to maintain that, but we continue to do that. Who really gains from this? You do. Employers love students from high-ranked universities. So why am I pleased we're #1 3 years in a row? Is I'm pleased for you all, because it bodes well for your employability, and it's also good bragging rights from your friends from University of Michigan or Stanford or whatever your second choices were. Earn above average returns. We want to earn above average returns because if we earn above average returns, people want to invest in our businesses. If you earn below average returns with your scouting business, Alex, is anybody going to invest in you? Of course not. So you know that. So it's another reason. And we do it ethically and legally. I don't know about you, when I was a kid, anytime I did something wrong, it was written all over my face. My mom would figure it out in about a New York second. What'd you do that for? Okay, so point being is just don't mess around anymore. Do your jobs, do them ethically, do them legally. It's much easier to do it that way, and sometimes maybe harder from a transparency perspective, but when you go and try and do things the wrong way, trying to get your reputation is shot as an entrepreneur, your primary asset is your reputation. People know that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, and you do it ethically and legally. You're getting a fine ethics education here. Most other schools don't do what we do here. So, origin of the word essentially is French for to undertake. So I undertake, in other words, one who initiates business. It's one thing to think it up. You can think up your scouting business, Alex. It's the next thing is to make it happen. That's the hardest part. It's 20% inspiration, 80% perspiration. This is really hard, demanding work. You will work half days. 7 to 7. It's half day, right? So you have another 12 hours to go play. But you do, you work hard. So there's myths that we talk about here. Entrepreneurs, young person's game. Successful entrepreneurs are those who come up with most creative, original ideas. We're motivated by greed and money. Entrepreneurs are born different. We're risk takers. You need a degree in business. Most entrepreneurs are millionaires. You can't be an entrepreneur without venture capital. Entrepreneurs are happier than those who work for other companies. So, false. Most people will start a business between 32 and 38, maybe 40. And there's a good reason to that. How many know about the 10,000-hour rule? Ever hear of the 10,000-hour rule? Anybody hear about that? What's the 10,000-hour rule?
You have to do something for 10,000 hours to be good at it.
Yeah, you become very proficient at something if you've done it for 10,000 hours. Do we have any musicians in here? How many people play music, sing, do all that? What do you play?
Piano.
Piano? So do I. I'm terrible. I close the doors and make sure everybody's out and the dog's in her crate, and I go play so I don't disturb anybody. But it's a wonderful feeling. I love to play piano. It's great. I enjoy it. Nobody else does. But, but after 10,000 hours of practice, you think you're going to be pretty good at it? Sure you are. So it's the same thing in business. A lot of folks. My advice to anybody that asks me what they ought to do with their career, I want to be an entrepreneur, is first of all, get a good education. Secondly, go to work for a large company and figure out how they run themselves. How does this place work? And secondly, find a smaller company, go to work for that company. And the nice thing about smaller companies is you have more responsibility over what you're assigned from start to finish, rather than a large company. You get a little piece of the work, you do your part, it goes on to the next person. And then after that, get an MBA. I'm a big believer that MBAs are really, really important. Arnie Ludwig, who was, may he rest in peace, was the dean when I took my MBA. He said an MBA makes you BS proof, and he was right. Then start your business, because then you've probably got the 10,000-hour rule. You know what you're doing, and you're going to make your mistakes on someone else's money. This is a good thing, right? So, second thing, most are false, creative, original. 70-90% of ideas come from an entrepreneur's previous employment or existing business contract. Very much so. That wasn't that hard to come up with what you're doing. Michael Dell. How many have a Dell computer or have had one? Do we have a Dell computer? Sure. Michael Dell used to like to build computers for his friends in college. And he looked out in the marketplace and he said, the business model is what? Build computer, sell computer. So if you wanted a computer, you had to go what they call it, Computer Land, or some store that doesn't exist anymore, and you had to buy what was on the shelf. And he thought, well, this is nuts. Why not sell computer, build computer, and use the internet? Is that a big push? I mean, is that, yeah? Jeff Bezos does what? Amazon. The guy said, what did Amazon originally start selling? Books. He's a bookseller. Has that been thought of before? Sure. So what did he do? Internet came along. I'm going to sell books on the internet. Look where he is today. Kindle Fire, all the Kindle and the e-books and everything. Amazing, amazing business story. But was it big creative-wise? You look around and go, oh, we could do this, this, and this. Let's go. What's the guy? Charles Schultz. Is it Charles Schultz? No. What's Schultz runs Starbucks. I'm drawing a blank here. Schultz. At any rate, he started Starbucks. Has somebody sold coffee before? Yeah. Why do you go to Starbucks? Why do you go there?
To buy coffee.
Buy coffee. Because why would you pay $3 for a cup of coffee? You can get out of a machine over here for less than $1.
Well, I don't buy
It's right. It tastes good, right? First of all, it's good coffee, and he created an atmosphere. You can go in there with a cup of coffee. You can take your laptop in, any Starbucks in the world, get onto their wireless, and do work. It's like a community. So what's different about this guy? Why is Starbucks so successful? So being creative. You need the experience. Every one of those people had experience in doing what they're doing, even Bill Gates. Stephen Jobs. Stephen Jobs got fired and then rehired, and look where the company is today. Amazing guy. Absolutely false. Most entrepreneurs are motivated by the ability to work in an area where they have passion. Every survey I've ever seen about priorities for entrepreneurships, money usually comes in somewhere around 5, 6, or 7. And so what do we look, as an entrepreneur, what do I look at money as being? To me, money is a means to an end. It's the fuel. It's what helps you get your company going and feeds it. And I have a question, so I'll give you the answer to the question if you ever have it. It says, what's more important in business, people or money? How many think it's people? I hate to disappoint you, but money. Because if you don't have the money, I can't hire Alex. Right? Can I hire you if you're going to come work for me for free? What are your parents going to say? Hey, Mom and Dad, I got my Notre Dame degree, just spent $150,000 and I'm going to go work for Bernel here for nothing. They say, what are you, nuts? So the point being is you need to make sure you have a good supply of cash, of money to fuel what you want to do. So you need the cash, you need money. And it's a means to an end. And sure, I think if I'd gone to work for a Fortune 500 company and spent my life there, I made a hell of a lot more money than I made as an entrepreneur. But I just love running my own business. So it's not money, it's get it out. It is easier to make money working for someone else. Are we bored and different? No. And so you play the piano. Did you just play the piano? Did you one day you just get up and sit down and start ripping them off? No. Do you love playing the piano?
Yeah.
All right. So you have a proclivity, you have a talent for it, you have an interest in it. So to become really good at the piano, you learn. You go to school, you take lessons. The same thing with entrepreneurship. You have to want to do it. I mean, I can't force you to be an entrepreneur. That'd be stupid. But you have to want to do this, and then what you do is you do what you're doing right now is you're smart, you worked hard in high school. I always talk to my 2 children as to, you know why you get good grades in high school? What's the real point of getting good grades in high school? It gives you what? What's it give you? Work ethic? You get choices. You had choices that a lot of other people didn't have that didn't do the work that you did. So the same thing in business. You work hard, you become successful because it gives you choices. And why not? The more choices you have, the more good choices you have, the more fulfilling your life's going to be. This is the smartest group of people you ever be with the rest of your life. As you look around, you go, oh my God. Well, it's true. I've been out there. I've hired hundreds, thousands of people. And if I could hire every single one of you in a business, I'd do it tomorrow. Because I know that the education that you're getting out of here is a top-notch, great education. You're leaving here with the tools that are necessary to be successful in business. And secondly, I know culture-wise what you all, the culture that you come from. And so hiring Notre Dame students, that's a no-brainer. It'll be easy to do. So you can be taught if you want to be. Risk takers, I think we're more risk managers. Should we have more? I have more of a risk quotient than someone else might. But anytime I buy a business or I'm involved in any sort of investment, I've invested in venture capital, private equity, my own businesses and banks and all sorts of stuff, it's always a calculated risk. As I look at what are the risks and how much, I guess the question I always ask myself when I'm going to do an investment is, what's the worst thing that could happen? And can I live with that outcome? So when I take risks, so I'm going to take a risk, I'm going to put $1 million in this business and buy it. What's the worst thing that could happen? I could lose my $1 million. If I lost that $1 million, what would happen to me? And you go, oh, I better think about this some more. That could really hurt. And so before I make those decisions, I'm really analyzing the risk. And you're going to be taught about risk here, is how to manage risk and look at it in a really pretty much mathematical way and also from a perspective as a business executive. You don't need a business degree. Did Steve Jobs have a business degree? Did Bill Gates? No, he didn't have one. Schultz did, Dell did, but you don't need a college degree. There's a lot of folks that go through arts and letters here that end up as entrepreneurs, particularly those who go through engineering, science, and technology, because you're going to see a lot of really interesting opportunities in that. So you don't really need a business degree, but you ought to get an MBA. So 47% held degrees in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Those folks need you. Because I see business plans that come from engineering that they're being commercialized in cancer drugs or biotech or whatever. There's some really great business plans, but they need people to run the businesses, and that's you. They need you. False, most new businesses fail. It's something in the neighborhood of 5 out of 10. Restaurants, I hear conflicting stories on that. I talk to my students and entrepreneurs, you know how to make a small fortune? Start with a big one and buy a restaurant. It's a tough business, let me tell you. So I guess it's Tuesday today. Okay, you need a lot of money? No. My wife started an internet business. She's our local newspaper, our newspaper in LaPorte, Indiana, which is west of here. It's just terribly, the newspaper sucks. And so she was a journalist before she became an attorney, and she said, we're going to start our own What's New LaPorte's the name of the website. And I think it cost us $5,000 for her to start it. What's her main source of income now? What do you think the main source of income is? Advertisement. Now we're trying to look for another revenue model. So advertisement in a small town can only bring in so many dollars. So the new business model we're looking at is going to small communities the size of LaPorte of 25,000 people or so, go to their local paper and say, we'll set up What's New Hannah, What's New Valparaiso, whatever it is for free, but we want 30% of your ad revenue. So there's another stream, the revenue stream that's going to come in that should boost the sales or boost the income of the company. So those are the things you have to think about. You don't need a lot of money. And people, I have to say that for 95% of my life working for myself, I have to say I really loved it. It's just, there were 5% of the time where at one point in my life, I sat down and said, you should have stayed in the Navy. Because of the stuff that was going on around me. You're going to have highs and lows and highs and lows. And I think it's just your ability to handle stress becomes really paramount. The old saying that things are never as bad as they seem nor as good as they seem, probably true. Higher job satisfaction, autonomy, flexibility, greater impact and control. Which means it's not about business, a solution to problems, enterprise creation and growth, engagement of others. This is one of the reasons of freedom, autonomy, and your ability to maximize choices. It's easier to run a big company than a little company. Why do you think that is? It's easier to run a big company than a little company. Why would I say that? What do you think, Alex? Why would it be easier?
In a big company, you've got more that your employees are focused on like certain sectors of the business, whereas in a small business, you need to be prepared to handle issues from a variety of aspects.
Sure. You've got resources that you don't have as an entrepreneur. The first business I started, I had to clean the toilets, as well as run the business, make the parts, call the customers. I had to do everything. And as the business grew and grew and grew, I'd be coming to work one day and I thought, wow, I always thinking, here's a new idea, here's a new product. We ought to be doing this. You call in the VP of marketing and say, I thought of this idea coming in here, what do you think? And we discuss it and knock it back and forth. I'm a big consultative, participative type guy. And he said, well, there's some merit to that. I said, okay, go do the research and come back and let me know what's going on. And I go off and start thinking of other things, how to grow the business, taking care of customers, taking care of people. So really, a big business is a little bit easier to run to some degree, but in a way you had all these resources. Opportunity aspects, opportunity recognition. Every one of my entrepreneurship classes, every time we start a class, I say, what was your entrepreneurial idea of the day? And the point of that is, as you're going through your life, it's starting to look at the things that bother you about what you buy, where you live, and say, well, geez, if someone just did this. And it's that constant looking for opportunities, being creative. Being creative there's always more than one right answer, except in math and statistics and some of those things, there's usually one right answer. But in life, there's always more than one right answer, and just finding one right answer that's just doing your job. It's trying to find multiple right answers, and in between that, trying to find what's the best right answer to solve the problem. The more you climb the ladder, the more you run your own business, you get to make all the hard, tough decisions. Most people, the easy decisions are made by someone else. Be able to marshal resources, find money, building teams, correct teams, market research, beta testing, tolerance for failure. We learn mostly by our failures than we do by our successes. So, you can say, I don't have any, Alex over here just had one. That wasn't tough. You know how you could start a business. I want to solve social problems and start a business, so I'm really an entrepreneur. That's not true. I have a stepdaughter who is graduating from IU, Indiana University, this spring. And we had a discussion a couple of years ago about where she wanted to go work. She says, I do not want to work for a for-profit company because they make money. And I'm going, well, what do you want to do? She says, I want to work for a not-for-profit. I said, really? And you don't think not-for-profits have to make money? She says, no. I said, let's think about this for a second. It's a not-for-profit, a charity, instead of calling it profit, they call it revenue in excess of expenses. You have to make money. Because if your charity runs out of money, can you do the social entrepreneurship side? Of course not. So it's still a business. It has to be run like a business, run well, be competitive, make sure you have revenue sources coming in. Because today, the people that fund social entrepreneurship are going to be venture capital folks, private equity, people who have been very successful, and they want to see milestones, they want to see revenue models, they want to see business plans. They want to know that you can be sustainable. The big word around here is sustainable. Sustainability. The only thing that's saying is you're going to be sustainable. Your business is going to continue to grow and exist year to year to year to year going forward. So that's sustainability. So how do you do that? It requires the same number of skills. And social problems in our business plan competition, we have one social venture that's going to be judged. There's a Pepe Tours. Is a social venture that was founded here. One of our students had traveled in Cambodia, had noticed that after the Khmer Rouge, Cambodia was just unbelievable, bad leadership, killed lots of people. The education system in Cambodia was abysmal. And she did a bicycle tour through Cambodia, looked at the little towns and found out that their education system was absolutely horrible. So she came back here and wrote a business plan for something called Pepe Tours, P-E-P-Y. And what she does now is she runs bicycle tours through Cambodia. You pay for it, and the profits that she generates from that goes to fund starting schools in small communities in Cambodia. That's a nice thing to do. Anybody hear Better World Books? Hear Better World Books? That's the Amazon.com of used books. You're looking for textbooks, go to betterworldbooks.com first. You'll pay 10% of what you pay for the unbelievable cost of textbooks these days. And that came out of students, undergraduate students. One guy, Javier, was in one of my classes, came up with the idea for business for Better World Books. Today it's the largest seller of used books in the world. You see the boxes around here? Put your used books in here, you walk around, it says Better World Books, they get books, they classify them, they sell them online, and what they do is 10%, it's called a B Corporation now, it says C Corp, a B Corp, is 10% of their earnings go to funding literacy programs in the United States and in Africa. So they're sending literally containers of books to libraries and schools in Africa and to areas of the United States that need it. So it's a way of combining a for-profit organization with a social mission also. So you can do that. You have lots of ideas. Again, it's how do you identify that opportunity? It needs recognized. You do what we talked about on feasibility analysis and business plans. So let's see if I'm trying here. So that's kind of where what time we got here, guys. Is that okay with you? Now I need questions. Questions. What do you have about entrepreneurship, about what we do here? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
How did the student take $30 and turn it into $10,000?
It was a she. She was a basketball player. And one of her friends said to her, we always see you in your uniforms. What do you look like in street clothes? You know, what do you look like when you're off the court? She also had a passion for photography. And so she went and created a calendar. This is right after 9/11. And she created a calendar, very tastefully done, this is Notre Dame, of all the team. And she sold those calendars. It started off kind of virally. She sold them all over campus. And then it got on national news. And she sold $10,000 worth of that, of which it cost her something like $1,500 to do it. The profits that she made on that were sent to a charity in New York City that was helping children cope with the aftermath of 9/11. Another one of my students was also an IT major, information technology. $30, she went and bought a book on how to animate. Well, back then it was $20. Inflation gets in the way here. So she read a book on how to animate web pages, did that, called up her dad who worked for a major corporation, said, I want to animate your website. She did that. One of his friends in business saw what she did. They hired her to do that. In one semester, she walked away with cash, something like $3,200. And doing something she loved to do anyway. So there's a lot of T-shirts. You go into any of the alumni. Using Notre Dame's logo becomes problematic. The Notre Dame licensing is the licensing Nazis around here. You have to really. It's hard to get anything with the ND or Irish or stuff like that. But you'll see lots of shirts, shot glasses, mugs, you name it, sweatshirts, hats. There's all sorts of them out there. So, yeah, it's only limited to your imagination. Who else had a question? More questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any particular classes or seminars or anything targeted towards people who want to work for not-for-profits?
Yes, we have social entrepreneurship classes that we teach, and along with that is the micro venturing funding. And you can get a certificate in social entrepreneurship, or certificate in micro-venturing. So we offer those. Melissa Paulson is the person in charge of that, along with all the classes that they teach, plus the internships that we run. So yeah, you can. Other questions? Good questions. Any more questions? Well, you made the right choice to come here. I think you've all pretty much figured that out by now. My son Nick lives in Washington, D.C. Literally 80% of the friends that he hangs around with are Notre Dame. Friends that he gained here with while he was 33 years old and still single. I'm jealous. Anybody here from Washington, D.C.? In Georgetown, there's a bar called Rhino. Did you ever hear Rhino? Go there Thursday night, Nick Bernel will give you a free drink when you're 21. He may give it to you anyway. So, but I said, why? 5 years at Notre Dame, he's working 2 other jobs. Why are you bartending? He says, I get free booze and I get to meet girls. And I thought, good boy. So, any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
You talked about the certificate for microfinance.
Yes.
Certificate. Can you only get that if you have a major in entrepreneurship?
No. No, not at all. We have we have science business, and we also have students from around the campus that take it also that are not business majors. So, is that right, Sam? Yeah. So, I'm new at this job. I've only been there 3 months. So. Any other questions? Everybody all set? It's been a real pleasure being with you all. Go Irish, and thank you for your time and attention.